Hello everyone, thank you for joining me today. And today I'm going to be doing a video for Patreon out of how to make a special tool for connecting with the Shem angels. I've talked a lot about three different methods for working with the 72 angels of the Shem Ha Mephiresh. Now again, Shem means name. So Shem means name. So Shem angel. So this video is live, so it's available to people on Facebook, but here in a minute I'm going to make it just for Patreon. So this tool right here, I'm going to show you how to take a rope or a string and how to make a special tool with the Shem angels. Okay, so I've talked a lot about that there is the magical approach with ceremonial magic and scrying crystals, which I'll talk a little bit more about. And then there is the method of prayer, just praying to the angels, maybe with some incense and some lit candles, which is an act of magic. But today I'm going to be talking about the contemplative method, because I don't think I've talked about that a lot, the contemplative method. So here I'm going to give you a little bit of a practice with the contemplative method, and that is with the use of string or rope. So the basic idea is to take a rope. I would recommend 2 yards, 2 to 3 yards, okay? If you want to be careful, 3 yards. I'd take more, honestly, in case you mess up. So in case you mess up in this, because if you're not used to doing knot magic is often used to kind of tie intentions and things. But basically, this is going to be used to be like a prayer rope. You're going to repeat the name of the angel, the divine attribute, and the psalm verse 72 times. So 72 is a special number of the angels. So what you do is you take 2 to 3 yards of rope or string. You want it to be thick enough to be used for this purpose. And you could even use whatever color you like and everything, right? So what you do is you're going to take this, you're going to put the two ends together. Okay? You're going to put the two ends together. And then you're going to bring it down to the other end. Okay? So you put the two ends together, you know that this is the halfway mark. Okay? So what you're going to do is, this is the halfway mark. So you took your whole string or rope, and you know that it's halfway, right? You have the two ends. And then you're going to take this, and you know that this is the halfway mark between them. Okay. Now this is going to be used to put the name of the angel and also the divine attribute and psalm verse. Okay. So you've made a knot. Now knot magic is a thing in itself, but now you know that this knot is in between these 2 points. So what you're going to do next is you're going to take the two ends, right? You're going to put them together. You know that this is half of that, and you're going to put another knot. You're just going to do a single knot, you know, very simple. You have a loop. You put this through one knot, okay? So there's a knot. It's not a double knot. So now I take the other end. This is the halfway mark. This is the other end. I'm going to put them together, okay? This is the halfway point, all right? So what you're going to do is, you know, rosaries and prayer knots, and there are many different traditions. There are Hindu traditions. And by the way, if you're watching this live, it's funny because this was intended to be for Patreon only. Here in a minute, this is going to be for Patreon only. So you're getting a little overview of what we do on our Patreon only videos, right? So this video is for Patreon only, but I accidentally put it, you know, for everyone. So this is the kind of content that I put on my Patreon. It was intended for Patreon. That's what I'm going to do. As soon as I'm done with the video, it's going to be Patreon only. So there's a knot, right? So now I have 3 knots. Now I take the end and I put it to there, and I'm going to know that this is the middle point. So this is kind of an interesting thing to do with the Shem angels. What I would do is take 2 to 3. You know, you could put 2.5. You know, 3. I would do at least 3 yards of string, right? So what you're doing is a single knot. So between this knot and the next knot, you're going to double it. You know that this is the point. So, you know, you have the rosary. You have the prayer rope in Orthodox tradition. You have Buddhists and Hindus. And basically, this is how this goes, okay? So I talk a lot about the contemplative tradition, and this is how it works, okay? So I put these two together. I find the middle point. This is going to be used for a meditative or contemplative approach to Shem angel magic. So what you're going to do is you're going to say the name of the angel that you're currently working with. So it's a single knot. Do you see? You're going to put the name of the angel that you're working with, and then you're going to say the divine attribute in the psalm verse. Okay, so these 2 knots go together. You know that this is the middle point. And what it is, you're going to do this 72 times. All right, very simple. Now, knot magic is just a single knot. Boom. All right, you know, between these 2 points, okay, you put the 2 ends together. You know that this is the median or middle point. And then you just loop it through 1 time. It's not a double knot or anything. Okay, very simple. So you do this 72 times, and this will help you to connect with the Shem angels. All right, so there's this knot right here. You're doing this with me, okay? We're going to put the 2 knots together. We know that this is the middle, all right? So to do this, what you need is um, to look online for a rope or string or whatever that you can do this with. It can be any kind of string or rope. So it's just a single knot. You do that 72 times. And, this is to be dedicated to the Shem angels. Now, I think it's very important to not connect this with any other thing. I think it's important to not connect this with any other type of magic. So once you make this prayer rope, it should not be used for any other purpose. But what I recommend people to do is to take 2 to 3 yards of string and just practice, right? You want to make it perfect. You want to make it right for the Shem angels. And then you just make the knot. I haven't made a whole lot of videos about the contemplative method for working with the Shem angels. So here it is, This is a very easy way to make a contemplative method with the Shem angels. You take the 2 knots, you put them together, and then you just loop through 1 time. It's not a double knot, it's just a single knot, right? Very simple. You want it as much in the middle between the 2 previous knots as possible. All right, so the contemplative method for working with the 72 angels of the Shem HaMephoresh. I think the prayer rope is essential. Some people call it a witch's ladder. It's very important. All right, it's a single knot. Do you see that? It's a single knot. Boom. All right, that's a prayer. So that's the basic method. You just take a cord and you knot it like this, a single knot. That's a single knot. It's not a double knot like regular, like tying your shoes. There's a knot. So when you pray, you go through this and you hit a knot, you say the prayer, you go through, you hit another knot, your eyes are closed, there's another prayer, you hit another knot, there's another prayer, okay? And once you get to the end, once you get 71 of these, once you count 71, what you're going to do is, once you get 71 of these, you're going to take the 2 ends and you're just going to do, in this case, every other time it was a singular knot. This time you're just going to do a double knot, okay? Like you tie your shoes, double knot, all right? Then right here, once you're praying and you're going through this, oh, I hit this double knot. Or you could even put like an image associated with the Shem angels, or you could put your birthstone or whatever you would like to do. So this is very important. For, I've talked about the method of prayer where you pray to the Shem angels. And I've talked about how you have the use of scrying crystals and magic circles and incense for the method of magic. But I haven't made a whole lot about the contemplative method. All right. So once you get 72 knots in this, the basic method. Now you don't want to tie it like I did. I'm going to untie it, right? Because I'm not done here. You don't want to tie the ends until you're done. But yeah, that's the basic thing, end to end. And then you tie it, and you just do a single knot, right? Very simple. You do 72 of these. So I recommend getting like a big thing of rope, right, or string, and just trying this out, knot to knot. That's the halfway point, right? And you just make a single knot. You make a loop, pull it through. It's just a single knot, right? So I recommend a 70, you do 71 knots. And once you did 71 knots, try to get them as equal from each other as the other. It doesn't have to be. Then at the end, you tied the ends with a double knot. It's the only double knot out of the whole thing, right? Everything else is a single knot. And from these two strands, when you're praying, when you're working with the Shem angels, once you get towards this point, you can just feel that you've reached 72. And you could also put a pendant there and everything else. So this is, very basic to the contemplative method of working with the Shem angels. And all of these go together. There's the contemplative method, and there's the magical method, and there's the prayer method. And I think that all of these should ideally, I think they should all be used. So that is how, it's very simple. It's so basic, like it's ridiculously simple. You can go to Amazon and just buy some rope or string, It's very basic. You can just go to Amazon and buy this. You could buy, I don't know, a whole bunch of it. I recommend just 2 or 3 yards. I recommend getting enough string so that if you mess up, although you can just untie it, I recommend getting enough string that if you mess up, there's enough to go around, or you can make several of these, right? So this really tight knot that I made, I'm able to undo. So you can undo all of it, although you don't have to, So it's very simple. Knot magic is very like traditional. Knot magic is its own thing, but also like prayer ropes and rosary are found in many different traditions. So that's just a little bit about how to work with the contemplative method with the Shem angels. I've had a few people message me about how do I work with the contemplative method. You've talked about the magical method and the method of prayer, but how do you do contemplation? So what you do is you take your prayer rope and you say the name of the angel, Vehuel, or Asalia, or whatever your angel is, and then you say the divine attribute. Deus virtutes, whatever, the divine attribute, and then you say the psalm verse. And then you go the next knot. You say the angel name, the divine attribute, and the psalm verse. You go the next knot. You say the angel name, divine attribute, and psalm verse. You go to the next knot. And you do this 72 times. Angel name, divine attribute, psalm verse. You go the next knot. Angel name, divine attribute, psalm verse. So you do this 72 times until you come to this. You'll feel it in your hands, even with your eyes closed. Or you may even put a pendant here, right? You'll feel the difference. You'll say, okay, I've come to the end of my prayers. So that's just a little bit on how to use a prayer rope with the Shem angels, which is very fundamental with the contemplative method. Okay? I want people to understand that there is a contemplative method. It's not just a prayer method where you light a candle and light incense. It's not full ceremonial magic, but it's a more contemplative method where you just go deeper and deeper with the Shem angels. So that's just a quick video for y'all for Patreon. So thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see y'all in the next video. All right. Have a great day, y'all.